What is up, everybody? That car guy Eddie here, and today another video. Today's video is actually going to be a long-term review, and what I mean by long-term review, I mean road trip review. That's right. For those of you that don't know, I'm actually coming back from sunny Southern California. I'm headed back up to my home in Northern California, and we are putting about 750 miles, 800 miles roughly on this vehicle. So stay tuned. I'll tell you what vehicle it is. I'll tell you all about it. And is it the best road trip vehicle there is? Catch you in a second. All right, so after that wonderful intro, you're probably curious as to what vehicle this is that I'm driving, and you may know a thing or two about the channel. I'm kind of a Stellantis Dodge fanboy a little bit. I really am. So the vehicle that we're currently in right now is a 2021 Dodge Ram 1500 Laramie Eco Diesel. Special shout out to the mechanic, Adam. Thank you very much for letting me borrow your truck. There's going to be several reasons why I wanted to borrow the truck, and we're going to cover that all in this video. But seriously, it definitely made the trip a lot easier. So shout out to Adam for not being able to be in the video, but participate in helping with the video, if that makes sense. Anyways, so right to the video. So why did I decide to make this video, and why do I think it's important? Well, a lot of the times when you do car review videos, it's just very, very nonchalant and not really backlogged, right? You drive a car for a little bit of time, you give a little bit of feedback. You drive a car for a little bit of time, you give some feedback. And one of the things that I want to talk about realistically is I want to talk about what is it like to road trip a vehicle. And when you road trip a vehicle, there's all sorts of things that come into play that you don't traditionally do when you're driving on an everyday run-of-the-mill trip, right? Like when I'm going to work, yeah, I drive a lot of miles when I go to work, but when I'm going to work, you know, I don't have crazy things that come along. I'm not worried about certain things, but on a road trip, you do want to do that. Like for instance, I'll give you a good example. Right now, I am driving by a cow factory farm, poop farm. And if I didn't just flip on my recycling for my HVAC, the whole cabin would smell like cow manure. That's something not a lot of people can probably say about their commute, but you can say it about a road trip because it will in fact inevitably happen to you. Yes, you. All right, so like I said, we're putting about 750, 800 miles on Adam's truck here, and you know, it's mostly flat driving for the most part. You know, we're coming down from Northern California, the Sacramento area. We went down I-5, up over the Grapevine, down into LA, through LA, and into Anaheim. And first, I'd like to talk about the trip down and just my overall thoughts. So first things first, I'll tell you right now, if you're looking for a road trip vehicle, you know, you can't go wrong with a truck nowadays, especially a Ram. And the reason why is because a Ram has independent rear suspension, and that's a big deal if you're looking to drive on any type of a distance, right? Whenever you have a solid rear axle, the solid rear axle is going to be, you know, more bouncy. It's going to be more of like a truck feel. These new trucks that are out, I mean, the F-150s, the Ram 1500s, anything with a independent rear suspension is going to give you good travel. And because of that, you're going to get really, really good ride quality out of it. In addition to a truck, one of the great things about it is that it's got a long wheelbase. And whenever you run into instances where you have a freeway that might have whoops, you know, I like to call them asphalt whoops in them, you're not going to feel it as bad in a truck as you would in a car that has a shorter wheelbase. So there is that. Gas mileage, you know, this is the diesel, 1500 3-liter diesel. It is a Fiat diesel. So shout out Ferrari. That's right, it's Fiat. No, that's a play on words because of cars. I know Fiat doesn't actually own Ferrari, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. So let's talk about fuel mileage. So long-term fuel mileage, I am sitting at 28.4 miles to the gallon, like I said, and it's been a mix of flat driving and then some pretty aggressive grade driving as we're coming over the Grapevine. So 28.4 miles per gallon is an average. That's not bad. You know, it's not as good as my 1500 that I had, But my 1500 that I had with the Eco Diesel also was a 2-wheel drive. You got to keep that in mind. This particular model is a 4x4, and the weight is there, the transfer cases, the axles, everything like that. So even though it's not activated, 4-wheel drive is not in, I'm only in 2-wheel drive, the vehicle will get less miles per gallon because, like I said, of the 4-wheel drive unit that's in here. So 20.4 is not really bad. The issue that you're gonna have with diesel, and I'll tell you this right off the bat, and what kind of it's great and bad about a road trip vehicle, is that when you put, you know, if you have a 30-gallon fuel tank, which I'm fairly confident this has, probably 25-gallon, 30-gallon fuel tank in it, you know, you're getting 28 miles to the gallon, you're gonna be able to go, you know, 500-600 miles on a tank of fuel, which is great. Try doing that in a Tesla, right? You can't do it. Which is why road tripping in a diesel makes a ton of sense, especially if you have one of these eco diesels, like a Silverado, or you have a Ram that's got the eco diesel in it, or you're looking at buying a used one possibly, or hell, even there's some Dodges, some Jeeps that have the eco diesel in them as well, and some older F-150s that also have the diesels. The issue that you're gonna have with diesel though is fuel mile, or fuel, not consumption, fuel price. Fuel price of diesel is more expensive, and what I mean by more expensive, it's typically anywhere from like 75 cents to $1.35 more per gallon, and you really have to kind of factor that in. And what I said is you got to put on your thinking caps, and you got to think of math, right? We're always talking on this channel about math. We're always talking about, does it make sense, right? So what I mean by that is, if you have a fuel car, right, and your fuel car is $4, and $4 gets you a gallon of gas, and if you put 2 gallons in, you're getting 20 miles to the gallon, like let's say in my Jeep, for instance, right? 20 miles to the gallon, you put in 2 gallons, you can go 40 miles on $8. You have to ask yourself if paying, you know, $5.25 for diesel, or even say $5 for diesel, if you can get that extra 10 miles from the diesel for the $2 extra in fuel, is it going to be worth it, right? And that's really kind of what it comes down to, is cost per benefit analysis regarding diesel on the freeway, and kind of how it is. I will tell you that even though, you know, the math is there, as far as like, is diesel better on the freeway, the chances are, and I mean, I'll tell you right now, yeah. I mean, a diesel car in the freeway just churns out the miles, man. It's lazy. It doesn't have to go into high revving instances to pass people. When you hit a grade, it just goes right up the grade. There's a big push as to why diesel is so big when it's coming to, you know, long-term cars and things like that. And that's probably why you see so many semi-trucks, right? Diesel, effective power, you know, all that thing, power to weight to fuel ratio and everything. If it was more cost effective to do gas, every single semi out there would be gas, but it's not. If it was more cost effective to do electric, every single semi out there would be electric, but it's not. There's just not the infrastructure for it yet, things like that. So that's one of the big things about having the diesel, is you don't got to stop. Like I said, you fill this thing up with fuel, and you can go, you know, 499, 500 miles on a tank of fuel. Let's be real, after 400 miles on a car, you're ready to get out, right? You're ready to get out and stretch for a few minutes. So keep that in mind if you're looking at a diesel vehicle. But back to the Ram. This is a Laramie, so it does have a very, very nice interior in it. It's nice and comfortable. You can seat 5 in here very comfortably, 2 in the front, 3 in the back. This particular model does have a bench seat in it. From someone with a big family, I do appreciate having the bench seat in the front with the flip down armrest. The only problem I have with that is there's not a lot of leg room, because it's got a very, very high transmission tunnel in it. So if you put somebody in this front seat, their knees are completely into the HVAC system. So, I mean, it's good for short little trips, but this is a road trip review. Like I said, nothing for that. Like I said, seats in the front, really, really big, really comfortable. They are heated and ventilated in the Laramie, which is perfect, which is really nice. And one of the things you got to worry about when you're road tripping is not just how much room is in the cabin, but how much room do you have in the bed. And one of the concerns that you have whenever you're going on a road trip is, hey, where am I going to put all my stuff, right? And in a traditional road trip fashion, like some people would think, like a Tahoe or Suburban, something like that, I mean, you guess you could put it in the back, but then you're losing interior space. The nice thing about having a truck, and what really does make it a really good road trip vehicle, is the fact that you can just put stuff in the back and buy a tonneau cover, okay? I don't care if you don't like the way a tonneau cover looks, get a freaking tonneau cover. Get a roll-up one, get a Velcro one, whatever you can do, buy something off Amazon. They're not hard to install, they're really easy, they come out of the way, but I'm telling you, they're fairly waterproof. They will keep your stuff dry, they'll keep your stuff safe. Yes, can somebody cut it with a knife? Have I ever seen that happen? No, but then again, I'm not parking in the freaking hood either, okay? So kind of keep that in mind as you look at things and go through there. What are some things that I wish this thing had? Well, like I said, I really do think it's a really, really great road trip vehicle. The suspension is just so good. It rides like a Cadillac, which is hilarious because it does ride incredibly smooth. Now, road trip, that's great. Round town, I don't like it. It's floaty. When you turn, it wants to dive and dip, and it's entirely gutless. You know, it's just not fast at all. Not even really quick, but it is sufficient, okay? Not slow, not fast, not quick, sufficient. And I'll put it there because, you know, it takes a long time for the turbo to kind of do its thing. And to be honest with you, you know, I don't really blame Fiat Chrysler, the ones who made this engine, on that. I actually blame the EPA, who really choked this thing down. And because I know that changed a lot of throttle modulation and things like that. And there are things that you can do to make that better, you know. One of the things I know Adam's been talking about on this truck is he wants to get a cold air intake kit on it, which would, of course, probably boost some mileage that he does have. He ultimately wants to, you know, delete some of the exhaust and stuff. But here's the deal, like, from a road trip standpoint, you want your car to be quiet, you know. The big reason I took this thing is because I could have taken one of the Jeeps. I could have. And the gas mileage, after doing this drive, I mean, the gas mileage, if you look at gas plus dollar amount and everything like that, I don't know, it'd be close. The diesel may still edge out just a little bit, getting 28, and that was if I averaged 20 in the Jeep. But there's a couple of things that the Jeep can't do that this does. Like I said, the Jeep would have been a way rougher ride. My wife's Jeep is a Rubicon, and it's, you know, mainly designed to go off-road with the ability to go on road. So there would have been that. Plus, it's a ragtop, right? Look how quiet it is. How long has it been since you've seen a That Car Guy Eddie video inside of a vehicle? And the reason why is because I drive a Jeep. And when you drive a Jeep, it's just freaking loud all the time in the Jeep. I thought about getting a microphone to like clip here or something like that so I could do these old school videos for you guys, because that's what my viewers want. And it's interesting because, like, you know, everything that I try is just super loud. So it's whatever. All right. Anything else? What do I wish that this thing had? What would make this thing the ultimate road trip vehicle? Okay, honestly, what this truly desperately needs, it needs to at least have adaptive cruise control. It should. It's a Laramie. This is a $60,000 truck. It should have adaptive cruise, especially in 2021, 22, 2023. I think adaptive cruise control, I mean, it's got the cameras on it. It has forward brake assist. Like, it stops you if you're gonna rear end somebody. So it already knows what's happening in front of you. Why doesn't it have radar cruise? Like, radar cruise would be huge. Also, a one that I think would be really cool that I wish it had, but it doesn't, it would be lane keep assist. You know, when you're cruising for a long time, you're just going straight. Sometimes, you know, you tend to wander around the lane a little bit, especially if you're tired from driving or anything like that. And that's where the lane centering would benefit. You know, it's not Tesla autopilot, it's not Super Cruise, but I think that it would be a little beneficial when it comes to road tripping a car. My nephew, he's got a Tesla, he's got autopilot on it. You know, he's like, look, I'm driving on autopilot, everything's good to go. I think that this would just make it the ultimate road trip car. So here it goes. Is the Ram 1500 EcoDiesel the ultimate road trip vehicle? Well, it's big, it's got plenty of space in it, you know, it can haul the whole family. It's got ample cargo in the back. It's two-wheel drive, it's four-wheel drive, so if you hit snow, if you hit anything, you're not gonna have a problem when you're in the Ram, okay? It's quiet enough to record videos, that's 2 thumbs up. It does get really good fuel mileage, and it doesn't have to try, you know? When you have a gasoline vehicle, when you're going over hills or Grapevine, it has to downshift, it revs high, all that stuff like that. It's lazy, you don't have to do that. Downfall, you are gonna spend a little bit more money in diesel, but like I said, do the math, it does pay off, even if it's just a little bit. Diesel's gonna be a little bit harder to find, and the trade-off is gonna be, because it's such a good road trip vehicle, around town it's not as fun to drive. Like I said, softer, squishier suspension, it's harder to park. This thing is huge, right? Plus it's got these big Dodge douchebag mirrors on it that like stick out like hecka big, and they're not even folded up yet. It's hard to park, especially in a city. Now, will you get used to it? Yes. Is it gonna be a problem if you're a truck guy? No. But if someone who doesn't typically drive a truck, you're gonna be like, man, this thing's hard to park, because it can be. It's long. But like I said, all of that other stuff pays off because it's such a good road trip vehicle. So scale 1 to 10, 10 being the absolute perfect road trip vehicle, 0 being a Ninja 636. I'm gonna probably give this thing like a solid 9 because I think it's there. I really do think it's there. Like I said, a couple little features that I totally wish it had, but other than that, it's a great truck. It's nice. Thanks again, Adam, for letting me borrow it. Definitely made the trip a lot easier for us and the family. My wife and the baby flew, so we didn't have a whole carload of people on the way down there, but when we did pick them up, it was great. We were able to put the car seat in there, we were able to put everything in the back and keep it all storaged and locked up and everything like that. So for what it's worth, thank you very much for watching the video on the ultimate road trip truck, and I'll catch you next time. Ride hard.